everyone, and welcome back again to the 80s Movie Den. So this is review number 1 of my Halloween movies. If you watched my short last night, you'll know that I watched Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. And I also watched The Dead Zone, the Stephen King film. I also watched this week, bear with me, I took some notes. I watched The Ghostbusters as well. I just thought I'd throw that in there. I'm not going to review that. Most of you have seen it. Those of you that haven't seen it, I'm not quite sure where you've been. But anyways, I took some quick notes because I didn't want to forget anything, but I also didn't want to say too much because I didn't want to spoil it for those of you that haven't seen these movies. And I know that most of my audience, like I said, they have seen these films many, many times. But for those of you that are tuning in, that are new to the channel, that are maybe a bit younger of an audience, I'll just give you like a brief synopsis of the films. So Friday the 13th Part 5, 1985. Dick, I think it's Wyand, played Jason Voorhees. Another notable actor in the film was Corey Feldman. So basically, Tommy Jarvis, which was played by John Shepherd, years after the murder of Jason Voorhees, he spends some time in a mental hospital. He then gets moved to a halfway house. Body count starts to grow, murders start to happen, and he starts to question whether or not it's Jason committing these murders, if he's risen from the dead. He starts to question his sanity, and then the ride begins. The murders start, and basically he's trying to survive to figure out what's going on. But that's kind of the movie in a nutshell. Friday the 13th movies aren't that deep. It's just a lot of murders and then, a little bit of a story to follow. But I really enjoyed it. It's been a while since I've seen it. I've seen the first 4 quite a number of times. But the later movies I really haven't seen very much at all. It's been a while since I've seen this one. But while I was watching it, I was questioning whether or not I had seen it at all. But there were some parts that seemed familiar. But I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to the next 3 for sure. So Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Awesome movie. And then I watched The Dead Zone. The Dead Zone is a Stephen King film. It was made in 1983, starring Christopher Walken. And basically the film goes, he's in a coma for many years after a really bad car accident. When he recovers from the coma, he develops certain abilities. His longtime girlfriend did not wait around for him and moved on, which left him pretty upset, pretty beat up over the loss of his girlfriend. But with these certain abilities, he's able to, predict what's going to happen in the future. And so the movie takes you on a pretty wild ride. I thought it was an excellent movie. Just a classic Stephen King film. There are some scare elements to it, but it's more of like a thriller. And there's a deeper story to it. It's not just your typical 80s, slasher film. Martin Sheen is also in the movie. And I would highly recommend that movie to anyone who hasn't seen it. I probably will take another look at it at some point, not anytime soon. I was pleasantly surprised. You know, not that I should have been. You know, Stephen King is an excellent writer. But yeah, very good movie, The Dead Zone. So those are the two movies that I watched this week, along with the Ghostbusters as well. Excellent movies. That'll be it for the review. Stay tuned for next week. I've got 2 more movies coming. I got another Stephen King film that I'm going to check out, as well as another Friday the 13th film as well. And I'm going to throw in a third movie as well. Something a little bit more simplistic, something more fun. I'm thinking The Monster Squad. I've got Poltergeist on the mind. I've got the Rocky Horror Picture Show on the mind. I've got a lot of movies, a lot of horror movies. So I'm gonna, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole and start watching a whole bunch. I just don't have the time for that. But I will throw a third movie in there, and I will mention which one it is next week. So stay tuned. We got another review coming next week. For those of you that are new to the channel, thank you very much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. If you like the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. That would help me out quite a bit. This has been the 80s Movie Den, and as always, we'll catch you on the next one.